It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. But listen closely.
Not for very much longer.
I've got to keep control.
We're doomed.
It was time to decide who your friends were, and Adam had. So the Antichrist, 3 human children, and a former hellhound faced death and 3 monsters who came from the minds of humanity.
The thing is, they're not actually real. They're just like nightmares, really.
Hi, welcome to Moments with Mimi, and today we're going to talk about random acts of tragedy, for lack of a better term, and why they happen, and how does that happen, and does it only take one person ripping this out? Well, there's only one being here. That's the thing to really remember. And that everyone else is a thought or belief that the one is having. And that's your purpose, to represent that belief. And then break out of it. And I don't believe that anymore. I believe in myself and divine love, and that's all I believe in. Okay, I believe in what I say consciousness is going to be, and divine love makes it happen. You are the baby. You know, I know a lot of people read Neville Goddard and they get caught up misinterpreting perceptions, the promise. And Neville states it very clearly. You do not know that you and God are one. Now, Neville does say, you know, the human imagination is God himself. But that's because that was his part of the message to get across to everyone how important the human imagination is, because that's you. That's you. You're the baby. Okay? David, Joshua, Jesus, you're the baby. And the baby is becoming Solomon. The baby's been born. And what has to happen is, yes, it only takes one, because look at humanity. Step back and take a look. We can talk to each other in milliseconds, you know, around the world. Just takes a minute, half an hour, everybody and their dog knows it. You know, it's one. We're one. Okay, so if they're panicking in China, it starts off a chain reaction of panic around the world. You know, and they scratch their heads. Well, you know, how did that virus jump from here to there? We thought we had it contained. No, you don't. It's the ineffable plan going on. And it's really about understanding that they are thoughts and beliefs. And when these things kind of happen, as the Bible tells you, you are to rejoice, because they died. It was their time to exit the stage. Bless them. They gave their messages and their gifts. And now they've stepped into new bodies without whatever belief got ripped out. If you rip out a belief and I rip out a belief, and the belief is something, you know, that, you know, like I've said before, if you don't like it, nobody else likes it. No, there are no scammers in the world. There are no scammers. You know, well, what happens is things will happen to those who've been playing the scammer. Okay? Things are going to happen to scare them. And they will either turn within and, you know, ask to be saved, and they will be, or they die. They move. They go away. They change. It changes. They are a thought or a belief. If the belief is no longer believed, then the thought is no longer thought, and they go. Bye. You've got to go now. if you won't change, if you won't turn within and change, then you are got to go. And what people don't understand about Neville is he was speaking from the perception of one who has gone through the promise. And, you know, he just really loved it. And I don't think, 50 years later, you're quite getting what he was trying to say, which is, that you're not God himself. You're not God. You're never going to be God. God is inside you. God is inside you, guiding you, listening to you, giving you everything you want. God is consciousness and divine love. This is divine love's story. This is divine love's story. Consciousness is the clay. The two are one. And now, when you rip out a belief, because you are aware of everyone in the world, things will happen. And you will be shown them. And you're to just think, well, things always work out well for me. Things always work out well for them. Bless them. I know it's all going to be fine. It's all fine. And you tell that to yourself. Now, when dealing with the outside world, as far as that's concerned, it's, well, it's an ineffable plan. Que sera, sera. Whatever will be, will be. And there's different reasons why different things happen. When a bunch of people, such as a large group, are thinking the same thing, and they're thinking this objectively, and you have sent out the love, they will change or something will happen. Perhaps it will be an earthquake. Perhaps it'll be a volcano. Perhaps it'll be a tsunami. Those are the things that come out of nature that do this. But then there's the things like, the disappearance of MH370 or 9/11. And these are part of the ineffable plan. And the ineffable plan is the story from a humanity standpoint. And you individually get to do your part. You're playing your part. And you're raising up everybody else. Come on, everybody. We're a team. Let's think like this. We all know nobody thinks like that. Nobody likes being scammed. There's no more scammers. Come on. I know you're better than that. And everyone starts to recognize these are vessels holding a belief. And now you've changed you, and you don't see them that way anymore. No, you're not like that. You're like this. You're filled with divine love, and you're the best. And then things will happen. So, people will purge themselves to you. I thought they'd tell their backstory, and it's also that you will just forgive and forget. Just forgive it and forget it. It was just a mistake. I love you. Doesn't matter. There are no monsters. I love you. We were doing the best we could with what we had and knew. And, if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here. And I like here. I like me. I love who I am. So it's okay. It's okay. All is forgiven and forgotten. And that's how it happens, on an individual basis, on a humanitarian basis. When you step back and look at humanity, you just have to keep sending them love and know that there's only one, and that divine love loves you, and the two of you are one, and you're just singing and dancing, and you know that even though the world keeps showing you a virus, well, it's for the good. It's somehow bringing me my good. I don't know how it's bringing me my good, but I know it's bringing me my good. And maybe that's because you wished, you're prosperous, so everybody else is prosperous. You're alive, so everybody else is alive. You don't know how that'll work out. Maybe that's a virus that takes a bunch of people away. Who knows? You know, there is no virus. We all know, you know, truly, if you stop to think about it, there is no virus. It came out of you. Divine love shaped it. Okay? You made a name. And she said, okay. And then you started giving attributes to it. And she says, okay, here you go, here you go. You like it? And, of course, you don't really like it. An objective man tends to say, prepare for the worst. Prepare for the worst. You know, prepare for the worst. Well, no, you know, this really has never happened. There is no virus. This, if you continue to see something, even though you've declared this and walked away from it, and it keeps coming back into your consciousness, this is so you learn, okay? And you learn to turn within and say, you know, I know it's all good. I know it's bringing me my good somehow, some way, and it's all wonderful. And things always work out well for me. Things always work out well for everyone else in the world. For everyone else in the world. I don't care what country they're in. I don't care what continent they're on. I don't care what city they live on. They all are doing well. Things always work out well for me. Things always work out well for everyone else. Everyone. Now, when you start telling yourself those kinds of things, it ripples across the world. And those who aren't going to change and start playing in unity, harmony, and love got to go. They got to go. Because they were there to show you the other side. And if there is no other side, then you got to go. You come get in the middle with divine love, or you go. Okay? That's just how it is. Now, things like 9/11 and MH370, these were stories that were told in the past that have come to fruition. It's inevitable, okay, because it's part of the bigger plan, you know, and, oh, well, I didn't think of terrorists. No, but there are a bunch of men at the Pentagon been thinking about it for a hell of a long time. The Council of Foreign Relations has been thinking about it for a hell of a long time. You know, there's all these people who've been doing this for a long time. And you are a part of it by being aware that that's what the military does. The military plans for everything they can think of, right? Everybody knows that. Yeah. Oh, what a tangled web we weave. So really, you've been seeing the change all along. You know, John Lennon's Imagine coming to life. And you're seeing the end of governments as we know it, as authority is seen, you know, which is kind of what his song was about. And people are no longer going to put up with leaders. They don't need to be led. They all know that. You don't determine anything for me. You don't lead me. You know, ever since I could vote, and that began in 1980, I've been voting for Pat Paulson or Mickey Mouse for president. Ever since. You know, sometimes I'm lazy and, like, you know, the last election, and I just voted the Green Party, and then wacko stuff happened with the Green Party that I voted for, coming out and saying, you need to recount these votes, and all this other crap. Anyways, I'm not going to do that again. Pat Paulson, Mickey Mouse, okay? Because they believe you're voting for them to lead you, okay? No, you don't need a leader. You are the leader. You're the leader of your life. I don't need you to lead me. I need you to represent me. You know, this is a duty. It's not your career. And that's the role that was made. Now it's time to take that and say, no, that's not how it's going to be. No, this is a representative government. That means you put aside your beliefs, go listen to your constituency, and vote how the majority of them believe, regardless of your beliefs. That's the duty. And that's rippling across the world. Okay? You thought you had democracies, but they turned into, just feudal lordships again. And now it's everybody's at a humanitarian level, at a humanity level. And now, time to be Genghis Khan, time to be Cyrus the Great, and say, no, I don't think so. There's only unity, harmony, and love. And if that means you all got to die, then okay. I wish you the best. Thank you. Bless you. I love you. And you just keep on hanging on tight to your imagination and divine love. And don't worry, consciousness will reveal to you exactly what you're imagining, because you and mom and dad are making this happen. Yes, it only takes one. The world is one. We are one world. But you can't see it on the outside yet, because we have to have all this discombobulation going on. And that's why you just go be content and happy and know it all works out perfectly. Things always work out perfectly for you, and things always work out perfectly for everyone else. A lot of people don't seem to understand that, they're lying to themselves when they say, I am God. No, consciousness is God and divine love. The two are one. And they entered in you. And they're guiding you and helping you. And when they entered into you, they impregnated you and made a baby, the human imagination. And now the human imagination is making something that's a seraphim. You're still not God when you're finished here. You're the seraphim. You're the highest order of angels. You're the ones that are next to divine love. Hanging out. What's going on? Consciousness and divine love. This is El Shaddai. It's divine love. And I know what Neville said. But what Neville was trying to get across is that what you're conscious of is God, the power of awareness. Okay? And what you give attention to. And then the human imagination. You can run away with it by looking at the outside, or you can go within to the consciousness, or you can go within to divine love and say, no, it's like this. And mom says, you bet it is. And says, give it to her now. Consciousness says, okay. It's there. And most people just don't get that. So the focus is everyone else has a thought or a belief in your mind that you've accepted as, true. So when you're changing a belief, especially when you're seeing things on a global scale, and you start to tell yourself, oh, well, that's ridiculous. It's just a virus not hurting anybody, just being the best virus it can be. Nobody's afraid of a little old virus. They're all perfectly fine, and they're all getting chicken noodle soup, and lots of loving, and lots of orange juice, and they feel good, and it's all good. Or, there is no virus. That's just ridiculous. Please. Talk to the hand. I'm not listening to that. And yet, it keeps coming up. This happened to me in Hurricane Harvey. I've been, being thankful that for different weather patterns and stuff, and getting cold fronts in the middle of summer, and things like that. And then Hurricane Harvey came, and I was blowing it off. I know it's going to turn around and go away and dissipate, and it just kept pounding into my consciousness everywhere you went. So, I go within and ask, why? Why isn't this changing like everything else? I don't get it. And the answer was to learn. And I was like, okay. And what I discovered was that some things are ineffable. When you rip out a belief, and you believe in only unity, harmony, and love in your world, in your neighborhood, in your state, in your county, in your country, well, that flood came to come wash away all the bullshit. And some people had to die. And then we all came back together, stronger and better for the experience. And everybody loves each other. And it really is a bunch of unity and harmony and love. And then when the Houston Astros had their cheating scandal, nobody here cares. Nobody cares. Because they all know that for some reason, all that had to happen to bring us that World Series championship so that we would have some faith and hope, courage and love from our hometown boys to get through the results of Harvey. And there was so much joy. And so you never know. It's an ineffable plan. So you hang on, knowing that you're safe and secure. I went to bed that night, and I imagined seeing the water going down the drain in the street, and I fell asleep. And the Army Corps of Engineers opened the floodgates 30 minutes early. It wouldn't have mattered. They would have had to open them regardless. But they opened them 30 minutes early. The water came within a half inch of my home, of coming inside my house. And they opened those gates, and that took the water away. My home did not flood. All my neighbors were quickly restored. My next door neighbor thought he had flood insurance. He didn't, and I just knew he was going to be made whole. And they were getting free appliances and lots of help, and discovered that they had mold from a past flooding and got rid of all that. And it was really amazing. Everybody came together, helped each other, and, a whole lot of giving and loving going on. And no one's going to ever, ever, ever condemn the Astros, because they brought us the faith, hope, love, and joy. So it's the same thing with these big things, like 9/11 or MH370s or earthquakes or a bus that, gets attacked, or a train wreck, or all those things. It was time for them to play that part in the story. And one, do you believe people get so angry and upset that they plan to get in a plane and fly and crash into buildings and hurt innocent people? Do you believe that? I don't believe that anymore. I did believe that. I listened to Ollie North. I believed it. And that's the generation beliefs of when you were being conditioned into the objective side. You're actually continuing the story of life, of the one man becoming one with God. And then you wake up to what's going on and you realize, you're the one. Well, you're the one inside the one inside the one. It's literally like a Russian nesting doll. And you literally have to submit to divine love. It's all in your hands. The story's over. I know the story's over, and I know it's happily ever after. So things always work out well for me, and things always work out well for you and everyone else in this world. We all say, I am. And we're not God. God is in us, guiding us, giving us all this stuff that we ask for, good or bad, waiting for you to stop splitting him in two. Stop splitting divine love in two. There is no good. There is no bad. It just is, and it's just love. And it's all lovely because you're lovely. You are love itself. God is love. Consciousness is the clay that God shapes. God is love. In the Bible it says, one of the 10 Commandments, honor thy father and mother, and that doesn't mean honor your physical father and mother. It means honor thy father and mother, consciousness and divine love. Honor them, and divine love above all. El Shaddai told Neville that. It's all over the Bible. Faith, hope, and love, and above all these, love. Love. It's love. And that's a feeling of happiness and contentment and love. You just love it. So, it's all about the love. And it's hard for people to understand that, death and destruction and things like that, well, they have purpose. Beliefs are being ripped out. Rejoice in them. When people are hurting, or something really triggers you, like, the MH370 disappearance or something like that, then you need to go within and figure out why. And you just ask. You'll get the answer. There's only one being here. You're not going to ignore yourself. You're going to get the answer. And usually that comes about when you're either meditating. I mean, it's different for everybody, but for a general rule of thumb, it's the mundane task. Everybody has mundane tasks they do that they don't even think about. So you get in the groove. That's when you get in the groove. You're in the vortex. You're whatever you want to call it. And then you just think about it. Why did this happen? And you'll get an answer. So, these things are a part of the story of life, and it happens naturally. So if you're constantly pushing the positive and holding down the negative and blocking energies, and you hear about people like empaths, oh, I have to block their negative and block their negative and block. Block the negative. You're making a volcano. Nobody does that anymore. No. Accept who you are. You are divine love and consciousness and the human imagination. And when the three of them become one, they become a seraphim. You are not God, and you will never be God. But be grateful and thankful that God is inside of you, holding you, loving you, keeping you safe and secure. You can call it the dragon, call it God, call it source, call it whatever you want. But make sure that whatever you call it, you think of your inside. You, not something outside. So I hope this helps. It's important, especially with the coronavirus, because it just keeps coming into people's consciousness. So despite saying there is no virus, now they're all getting better. I'm not listening to this crap, blah, 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 whatever. Just know that you're safe and secure, that your loved ones are safe and secure, that the people in your neighborhood is safe and secure, that the people in your country are safe and secure. And if people in the world are safe and secure, and if they continue to get sick and die, well, somehow that's bringing your good. Things always work out well for you. Things always work out well for everyone else. It's all working out for your good. For the good. Your good. So I hope this helps. Blessings to you. And thank you. Thank you for being you.
It's astounding. Time is fleeting. Madness takes its toll. But listen closely.
Not for very much longer.